Hi, everyone. I'm curator Lisa D'Amico, and I am so excited to be speaking to Katharine Dufault. Her piece, Winter Lake, is in the Color of Nature exhibit, hosted by Inside Small. Katharine, this is your piece is, you're not, I know when you have, when you're the curator and you have loads of wonderful pieces in your exhibit, you can't say you have favorites, but for me, yours is incredibly memorable.
Oh, thank you.
Your use of color is bold and beautiful, and it has a very inviting nature to it. And I'm very curious to know about your technique in creating Winter Lake.
Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, I'm very inspired by the landscape around me, the landscape in places I've visited, the landscape of my youth, which was in England in the countryside outside Cambridgeshire. And all of these landscapes inform what I do. And though I don't directly copy the landscape I see, I bring elements, gestures from it that I hope to convey in my work. And then, of course, the colors are, inspired by nature. In that particular one, lake, it's taking the idea of these kind of evening deep colors, and then maybe a glowing orb, a moon, reflecting just gently on the edge of the, right at the bottom of the piece. And I just wanted this gesture of, is it trees? Is it mountains? Doesn't really matter. It's giving you this sense of space, and yet it's clearly not a copy of nature. It's, I've abstracted from nature.
It's wonderful. It has a very, for me as a viewer and me as a curator, it has a very almost meditative feel to it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the colors are beautiful. And when I saw that you called it Winter Lake, it almost in a way made sense to me.
Yes.
And it felt like a very familiar place, and that I wanted to stay there.
And go there. Oh, I really appreciate that. I mean, many people say that artworks are like windows. And so you kind of peek through and you see this other space, this other landscape. And I think a lot of my work has a calmness to it. And I think maybe, I work myself out through my painting. I know that nature really feels healing to me, and I love to be surrounded by it. And I think maybe I bring some of that into this, the studio space is your own private environment where you can control the noise, what you listen to, what you don't listen to. And I find that very zen, very meditative. And I'm wondering if somehow that comes through my work, because I have been told before that some of the pieces are just calming. So I find that a compliment. In this busy world that we live in, it's nice to have somewhere quiet and restive to go.
Absolutely. I'm very, because I don't know much about you as an artist. I'm very curious to know about your journey into, I wouldn't call it abstract, but I would definitely call it like a subtle approach.
Yes, well, that's nice. I call it abstracted, because that leaves room for there is, it's based on something.
Yes.
And I'm one of these, I'm unable just to create an abstract painting. I have to refer to something real that I've seen. And so that I can always go back in my memory, or, sometimes I use photographs just to jog my memory. I don't copy from photographs, but I might just look at them in the beginning. Oh yes, that landscape, which had that high horizon and this thing, or so those play into it. I've been looking at the landscape for a long time. As a child, my mother was a painter, and she used to take us on picnics when we were little, and we would have watercolor sets and we'd paint en plein air. And that was something that my sisters, my older sister and I both did. My younger one was too young at the time. And, I just grew up, that was how you did it. You looked at nature, you took elements from it, and you translated it onto the page. So I feel that I've been staring at nature in a particular way for a long time, absorbing pieces that fascinate me, casting my gaze onto somewhere where the tree, the mountain in configuration, or the way the light is coming. So it's something, it's just kind of developed in me. And then, of course, I went to art school, and I, further developed other techniques, other mediums. I did printmaking, I did encaustic photography, as well as painting and drawing, of course.
That's wonderful. For everyone listening, I cannot recommend more to please join Katharine on her beautiful journey. Your aesthetic is, like I said, it's mesmerizing, and in a way where you just never want to leave it. Your mastery of color and composition is one that I personally admire and I find inspiring as
Oh,
a fellow artist, but also just inspiring. It just makes my day better. So I really hope that everyone joins me in seeing your work in Inside Small, but also following you.
well, thank you so much. I'm delighted to be part of the exhibition, and I really appreciate your praise. It's lovely. Makes the beginning of my week good.
Thank you, Katharine.